Hello, everyone. I'm Jan Angel, your 26th District State Representative. Thank you for joining me on Legislative Update. I've got both good news and bad news to share with you today. So first, the good news. The House has approved a supplemental transportation budget that upholds a number of priorities for us here in the 26th District. The supplemental plan maintains from the 2009 budget just over $2.3 million for a corridor study and environmental impact statement for Highway 302. The study will evaluate the environmental impacts of creating a new corridor and improving safety and mobility on the existing Highway 302 corridor from the Key Peninsula Highway to State Route 16. $434,000 was also allocated in the proposed supplemental transportation budget to begin the design phase of a frontage road along a westbound section of Highway 16 located in the city of Gig Harbor. This would fulfill a pre-existing state obligation that was established in 1958. Improve traffic safety on and along Highway 16, and enable significant economic development. The ferries did well, as we expected in this budget. The same 364 car boats and planning toward 2 144 passenger boats. And then, of course, one of the most important items to those who use the Narrows Bridge, tolls. The Tacoma Narrows Bridge has a $5.2 million loan from the Motor Vehicle Fund that needs to be repaid. The budget bill delays the start of the loan repayment until July of 2011 and uses the revenue that's generated from toll violators to help repay that loan. By using the revenue from fines paid by the toll violators, the budget keeps our tolls at their current level without increases for the rest of us who legally pay to cross the bridge. So that's why I joined with 78 other lawmakers in the House of Representatives to support the supplemental transportation budget. We have another completely separate budget, however, and this one is very troubling to me, the state operating budget. As you know, our state is facing a $2.7 billion budget shortfall. And contrary to what you might be hearing, we didn't get in this mess overnight. It's been coming for a long time. Our state budget was in trouble before the recession hit. Following the 2003 legislative session, state spending was at $25.2 billion. By 2007, that number grew to $33.4 billion, a 32.4% increase in just 4 years. But until the recession hit toward the end of 2008, state spending was exceeding the incoming revenue. Everyone knows you cannot spend more money than you take in, or soon you'll be in trouble. So blame it on the recession if you want, but our state budget was in trouble months before the recession hit because there had been no fiscal leadership in the legislature. Now here's the bad news. The majority party wants you, the taxpayer, to bail out the state from their years of unsustainable and irresponsible spending. They are proposing nearly $1 billion in new and increased taxes. Yes, that's $1 billion with a B. And it will be the largest tax increase in the history of the state of Washington. To get there, they shoved aside Initiative 960, even though we fought for 10 hours in debate to keep this Taxpayer Protection Act. And then we come up with more than 89 pages of tax increases. That means everyone will be affected. It also means less money for employers to hire, and it also means more people will lose their jobs. Not only does the budget rely on tax increases, it also assumes the federal government will be providing us with $641 million in stimulus money. There's only one problem with that. Congress has yet to approve that money. But here we go again, writing it into our budget. Also, that's one-time money that they could use for ongoing programs. In fact, through this biennium, we have relied on about $5 billion in one-time money to pay for ongoing programs. What's going to happen in 2 years from now when we don't get that money? How are we going to fix the budget mess then? We should have used this shortfall to reform spending in the state budget. You know, in New Jersey, Governor Christie declared a fiscal emergency, and that allowed New Jersey to reopen collective bargaining and discuss ways to save millions of dollars. But here in Washington State, it was business as usual. And that's not how we should be running a government. We need to remember the words of Winston Churchill, and I quote, "For a nation to try to tax itself into prosperity is like a man standing in a bucket and trying to lift himself up by the handle." End of quote. I fear that we may be standing in this bucket for a very long time. I want to thank all of you who have been in contact with my office throughout this session. Please remember, I also work for you when the legislature is not in session. We'll soon be reopening the district office right there in Port Orchard. So please keep in touch. Thank you again for joining me on Legislative Update. I'm State Representative Jan Angel.